if you don't get rid of traumas, you don't take that time to look at what's going on in your life, you just said it. You're going to carry that with you for 13 years. So the person that you should have been 13 years ago, it took you 13 years to get there. On the outside, you're still making money. You're still taking care of your baby. You're building your business. You're doing all of these different things, which are wonderful. But there's still a section of your life that's not fully fulfilled because I said it earlier, there's a past experience, there's a traumatizing experience that you're holding on to.
Hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And I'm so excited today. We're doing another session of Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. And for all of you that listen on the regular, you know that what we do is we bring on lots of really interesting people from a lot of different walks of life, not necessarily all real estate investors. And instead of having them give us top 10 things like everybody does, we talk about what's inside their head, like what helped them go from here to here. And maybe there's something they might say that might help you or influence you and take you to the next level. So today we have a super mind to explore, super fun mind to explore. I have my buddy Rob Wells. His podcast is the Purposeful Purpose Podcast. Is that right? I guess that's why I say that 3 times.
You got you. Good luck.
The Purposeful Purpose Podcast.
Yeah.
And so we are going to check out and see what is happening with Rob and what's going on inside that beautiful millionaire mind of his. So first of all, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
I've been really so excited. I've been really looking forward to this interview for a couple of weeks. And I'm just like, woohoo, the day is here. And so one of the things we start off, we do drinks with Dwan. So we always take a minute, we have a toast, and we just say hi to everybody. So real estate family, we're having tea. So cheers to you, my friend. We're having tea together. Woohoo!
What type of tea do you have?
Today I'm having a live enzyme cinnamon tea.
Ooh.
It's so good.
Oh, you beat me. I have a perfect peach tea.
Ooh.
It's delicious, but I think you got me on the tea.
Ooh.
On the tea.
I know this tea literally gives me shivers. It's so good. I drink, even in the dead of the summer, I just drink ungodly amounts of the tea. It's crazy. You gotta really watch your teeth. You start drinking a lot of tea. I mean, your teeth all nasty looking. And
yes, it's so funny too when you ask me because you asked me when we were doing my podcast, what will I be drinking at this time? I'm like, I'll be drinking a protein shake because I probably just left the gym. You're like, let's do tea. So I'm glad we did tea.
We're having tea time.
We're having tea time.
Tea time. All right, guys. So have your drink with us and everybody just take like a deep breath. Shake off, shake all your stuff off, get your energy good and be ready to learn and to have a good time and to have an open mind. We ask you to always come with an open mind because my guests always have really amazing things to share with you. And Rob is no different. He's going to be amazing and super fun. And so what I like to do is I like you to sort of give us a summary of who, not how you got where you are, who you are now, and how people can reach you. And then we're going to ask a bunch of questions and we're going to backtrack and find out what got you to where you're at. So give us, what's your deal? Tell us what's your deal.
What's my deal? Okay, how deep do we want to go?
Well, give us the summary, kind of the stuff. We're going to go deep in the interview. So kind of give us a summary of basically who you are now.
All right. So
and how we can reach you, because I'm going to try to explore how you became Rob Wells of today.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is fun.
That's why
you
don't get any of the questions ahead of time.
Yeah, I love that though.
I want to find out.
I absolutely love that because a lot of people, when I do their interviews, that's what they want. They say, I want the questions ahead of time. I'm like, well, that's an interview. And I know I just said interview, but it's a conversation though. Like, I don't want to know anything. Like, surprise me. I would rather stutter, mess up, and not be perfect than know every single question that has come my way. So
that's why we have tea time and we talk, because I find interviews to be boring and I find conversations to be a lot more fun.
Absolutely.
But not everyone, like you said, not everybody's cool with, like, they want their questions there, and then, but then if you hear that same person, if you do the same 10 questions and you're on 100 podcasts, I'm not going to hear Rob. He answers the same 10 questions all the time. There's nothing new over there.
Absolutely not. And that's not how it should work. Like, I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm not going to steal it, but I love what you just did right now. I'm in a whole different mindset right now because I have the tea. So I love that. Absolutely love that.
Drinks with Dwan.
Bam.
This is what we do. Everybody knows, like, hey, whatever you're doing, just stop, have a drink, give it a shake off, and let's have some fun. All right, so kind of tell us what's your deal, like, where you're at today, and then we're gonna discover what's inside that gorgeous head of yours.
Well, I'm a superhero. At night, I put on a cape and I go fly around like Batman and Superman. I wish. I wish. So who I am right now, I am a transformational speaker. I am a transformational coach, personal trainer, author, and I should have said it first, I'm a father and a husband and a serial entrepreneur. Oh, did I say podcaster? Did I say podcaster?
Podcaster too. Yep.
Yeah, podcaster too.
A transitional, was that, what did I write that down?
No, transformational.
I'm sorry, I wrote it down so fast I can't read my mind. My own writing, transformation.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
I love it. Transformational speaker. So tell, what does that mean?
So transformation is, I'm going to use your story because I love your story because it's so beautiful. So who you were 30 some odd years ago is an entirely different person than you are right now. What you do now, there's no way the old version of you could do what you do right now. I'm talking about writing books. I'm speaking all over the world, holding events, all the things that you do now, that other person, you cannot do that. So what happens is, and when I first got into this industry, I got into motivation. You know what I mean? Everybody gets into that motivation, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with motivation, but motivation is the starting point. Motivation gets you going, but motivation sizzles out because it's a outside effect on you. And then when you get from motivation, you get down into inspiration. Inspiration is ooh, I feel so good inside. I'm inspired by your story. Your story is amazing. Oh, but it kind of sizzles out a little bit longer after the motivation sizzles out. But transformation is taking the motivation, taking the inspiration, and consistently becoming the person that you truly are meant to be inside. So we all, especially, and I got to keep using you as an example because you are somebody that's ever evolving, someone who's always going towards the next thing, striving towards the next thing. You become a different person. You become a different person every 6 months to a year. A lot of people don't do that. But, let me back up. And when I say a different person, I'm not saying an entirely different person, just your outlook on life, the things you do on a day-to-day basis, that continues that transformation. So transformation is becoming the person that you truly were meant to be inside and continuing that process all the way through. Like I said, I started with motivation, and I thought I wanted to jump on stage and hype people up and give them.
I was like, woo!
Yeah, like I just want to run into a wall right now. Like it feels good. Those feel good, and you need those. You definitely need those. When I was on the way to the gym, I had the same audios that I listened to thousands of times because transformation. And come on, and this is what I want to teach right here. Transformation is hearing and doing over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's not the one-time fix. No, what we're talking about in this conversation right now, someone needs to continuously listen to over and over again until they get the information, because it took you 30 years to get your information. And it took me, let's say now, 13, 14 years to get my information. And within that time, we had so much self-development that we went through. So between us right now, there's more than probably 200 years of just self-development inside of us that we're spilling out. So we may be saying something, but somebody may say, you know what, I kind of get what they mean, but I really don't truly understand it. It's kind of like when you read a book. Someone put their life, I wish I had a book next to me. I know I have a book next to me. I'm going to use this book right here. It's perfect. Children's book. I have a little baby.
I love children's books. I love them. You know, my favorite book, honestly, it's so weird. It's Green Eggs and Ham.
I love me some Green Eggs and Ham. I don't care how big and how old I am. I still go back to the Dr. Seuss books. So side note real quick before I continue on. My son is 6 months as of yesterday, as of 2 days ago now. And he's so cute. He looks just like me.
I bet he's adorable.
He's so cute. But I'm so happy because I get to go back through all those books again. I get to go through the Dr. Seuss's. I get to go through all the new things. But the point of me grabbing this book right here for the people who actually get to see the actual video is it took someone a long time to develop a book. Yeah. All of their knowledge going into that book. Trying to get that information in one go is impossible. So that's why you go through it over and over and over and over again. So going back to your original question, transformation comes when you understand the person that you truly want to be, and not only putting your entire life into that, but consistently every single day engaging in some type of action to create that person.
Nice. Now, how would a person, this is a good time, I'm super interested actually in this topic. You're the first person I've interviewed who is a transformational speaker. So I like the word, I like what it means. I totally understand what you're saying, because you're right. The 30 years ago, me wouldn't even be able to do what we're doing today.
Exactly.
I'd have been like, no, I've been way too much of a train wreck. Literally, so much of a train wreck. But let's just say that someone is on a path like, hey, you know, I do want to be a different person. Like, what is the thought process going through someone's head? Is someone just like, hey, I want to go to the gym? Or are they saying things like, I want to be more spiritual? Or are they saying I want to be a better parent? Like, what is in a person's head as they're starting a journey for transformation? Because people are like, oh, I'm going to go on a diet. Well, I don't think that is a transformation of the person unless they really truly like do it all the way and like it's a lifetime thing. So what would someone maybe in their head be thinking that's like, okay, I'm really interested in actually making a transformation? Like, what thoughts, what's the process for that? I mean, that's a really big question for a short amount of time, but where does a person start?
So the answer to that question, and it is really small, but it's really big and vast, it's the first thing that comes up is the big picture. It's the vision, it's the dreams, it's the hopes, it's all of that. That's the first thing that comes up. But the very next thing that comes up is fear, doubt, uncertainty. Every roadblock imaginable comes up. And that's where people stop. And that's where motivation and that's where inspiration stops. Do you need those? Absolutely. But what I talk about all the time in my speeches, and I can't wait to get to the end of this so I can spill something out because I'm always about love. Watch. It's gonna blow your mind. You guys can use it, but don't steal it. Motivation and inspiration, they're desperately needed, but transformation is where it's at. Because you got to deal with the nasty. You got to deal with the stuff that only you know. Because if I'm sitting here right now and I'm saying, I can't do this interview because I'm so scared, or when we start because her hair is so beautiful and pink, like it's going to blow me away. Like, I just can't do this right now.
Edifying other people. I'm going to take that compliment.
I had to throw it in there. If all of this is in my head before I even start something, that is a roadblock. It's a roadblock to stop you from getting to the next level. Everybody has roadblocks. I don't care who you are. Me, most definitely you, the listener, we all have things. We all still get scared. We all have these things, but it's understanding and how to get equipped right and properly to deal with those things. Because you can go through your whole entire life with a trauma. You can go through your whole entire life with an experience, because that's what a trauma is. It's a traumatizing experience is an experience that happened to you that replays in your head over and over and over and over again. Yeah. So without getting too deep into that just yet, you have to be able to pluck that stuff from the root and put in the new thing. So to really go into your question, let's say somebody wants
I really like that. I'm gonna write that down. So you have to pluck it from the root. It's just like weed in the garden.
Exactly. You can't like this is the perfect thing. If you go mow some grass, the root is still there. The motivation and the inspiration is still on top of the root. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't pluck it from the root, all you're doing is putting a diet, you're putting exercise, you're putting motivation, you're putting inspiration, all of this stuff on top of the grass. But you have to pull that from the root. Once you pull these things from the root, then you can put in I want to lose the weight. I want to be a better person. I want to build this business. I want to build these different things. Can you do it without pulling it from the root? Absolutely. But you're going to carry that on with you for the rest of your life. And then that's where transformation comes in. But I'm gonna stop right there before I start.
Let me just jump in before we move on from that. Honestly, that is like one of those really, for me, that's like one of those really profound things. Is I've never thought of it that way. Mm-hmm. Like I grew up, basically in the country and having gardens and, always weed the garden, getting rid of the weed, so you can grow the thing you want to grow. But I never really looked at it that way personally, that you have to pluck out the root. And I think a lot of people, I don't know, I don't know, because I'm not in this side of the business like you are, but I feel like a lot of people hang on maybe to that root, and that's their excuse. Yes. I was abused. I was in a bad relationship. You don't know what happened. Man, and they hang on to that root as their excuse instead of literally plucking it out from their life. I feel like that's that's a very deep thing. I mean, it's hitting me like, you know what, that is true. You have to not work on top of it. It was just what I think most people do.
Exactly.
They work on top of the pain, mm-hmm. and they don't pluck this item out. And I don't even know if people even really search enough to find out what is the things that are really stopping them.
Exactly.
So how does someone figure that out?
It is truly.
You're giving the answers to all of life answers right here.
yeah. It is. I'm never someone that knows it all. I always want to make that clear. I'm someone who fails every single day hard, to the point where sometimes I'm pissed off at myself, just because I hold myself at a higher expectation now, just because I've grown into myself, like a lot of people do. How do you truly get into that, and how does it really manifest in your life? How everybody wants to say it. It is truly first identifying it. Once you identify it, you have to spend time in it. But most people won't do that because it's scary. Yeah. It's lonely. It is all of these different things that we're taught not to do. But you got to spend that. You have to spend that time alone. Like what we're doing right now, I'm only able to do this conversating with you because I spent hours and hours and hours and hours beating on my craft alone. I recognized it. And let me go back, because I don't want to jump over what we were saying before, because it's super important. So I lost over 150 pounds. And when I lost that weight, it showed me something. Because there was 3 things I had to get, and I'm about to go deep. This is why I say how deep you want to go. There's 3 things that I had to
we're all in. We're going deep.
Okay, we're going all in.
Because the things that you're saying, I mean, I see these things stopping people like from taking a step maybe to be a real estate investor. But I never really, I guess from my side, I'm like, here's what you need to do. These are your steps. Go make money.
Yeah.
But I see people failing all the time. And this is where they need you.
Absolutely.
Help them figure out like what's my deal? What's my thing? What do I need to get past?
Because it's that too, because it's people truly may not understand why they can't close a deal for $10,000, for $20,000, for $1 million, because it may not be possible in their mind. Because what was told to them are what they believe, and this is where we start to get deep. What they believe is something different. But you're up here telling them, like, I'm gonna turn you into a millionaire. You listen to me, you get in my program, you follow the steps that I it took me forever to do. You just listen to me, I'm gonna make you a millionaire. In their mind, they're like, you know what? Wait, hold on a second. A millionaire? That's not possible for me. Roadblock. My family member told me I'm only worth $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. Roadblock. Belief. And then all of these different things put on top. So when you come with all of this energy, with all of this, like, I can do this for you. It's like they're back. They're further back from actually doing what you said that you can help them do. So to go back to your question, because it's super important. So there's three major things that I had to deal with.
I definitely want to hear all three. I'm already feverishly taking notes over
here. At the age of 23, I was a fifth grade dropout. Could not read and I could not write. So I had to deal with those two. I had to deal with that I was over 350 pounds, and I had to
350 pounds. Wow.
Absolutely.
I mean, not to interrupt it. Man, you look great.
Thank you. I try. I take showers, and showers help a lot in the process of looking good. I think I heard that happens. So the last thing is, and this is, I'm saying, deep. So I was raped when I was a child. So.
Wow.
Dealing with those three things for the longest, up to 23 years old, I could not read, I could not write, and I was dealing with that past trauma that caused all of these other things. How we just talked about someone being held back. I was held back saying, you know what, that's my true potential right there. I can be a real estate investor. I can jump over the moon. These things are possible, but I have these things in front of me. And I need to get through these different things. So until someone actually sits down and looks at their life, always say from a third person's perspective, and then get someone else in there, that's when they can truly follow on that purpose. And people get confused. Like, my podcast is Your Purposeful Purpose Podcast. People get confused by the word purpose and meaning of life and all these different things. I'm like, why don't you just look up the word? The word purpose means meaning, significance, and happiness. Right. So you can't get to your true meaning, significance, and happiness if you have all of these roadblocks in front of you. Going back to real estate investing, because real estate investing is so powerful. Uh-huh. How can you truly use and utilize all of the free information before you even do anything? The free information that you give out. I listen to your podcast. Fantastic podcast.
Thank you.
I listen to. I'm not just someone. Let me just get on your podcast and I want. No, I listen to it. How can I utilize all of this information with all of this stuff, with all of this baggage? Then that's when you start getting to work.
Well, you know something. You just covered two of my questions. I always like to ask people what they were like when they were like 13, 14, 15, and what they were like 23, 24, 25. So, fifth grade dropout, raped, sexually assaulted, and overweight. Which is, gosh, I'm so sorry about all that. That's like, no child should have to deal with no person should have to deal with any of that stuff. So, going back, where were you in your age? Because I do like to usually kind of do like, the two time, like a teenager versus like 25. And you said you were 23. So like 13, 14, 15, what was happening? What was Rob Wells? What was going on with you then?
In my teen years?
Mm-hmm. But teenage.
Absolutely nothing. Like there was me trying to understand life because there was no school involved. There was no outside people involved. So I spent my time, like people think I'm crazy now. And we talked about this in a podcast, in our podcast, where my schedule is everywhere. Like I'm going to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. No, because my mind is always going. I'm always active because I spent so much time doing nothing. So to answer your question, it was watching movies. It was eating myself to death. It was hoping and wishing for more, but not having the proper tools to do it. And that's why the transformational speaking for me is so important, because only someone that has truly been there can really pull you out. That's why coaches and consultants nowadays, they really, honestly, they piss me off, because what they do is they get information from other people.
Yeah.
And then they try to sell that same information instead of looking at the people who has actually done it.
Yeah.
Like go back and look at somebody's track record and then say, you know what? That person wrote some best-selling books. That person has a podcast. That person has these different things, because success leaves trails. As you know. So to truly answer your question, up until 23, and there was some trying to dig myself out before.
Where were you raised, just real quick?
So I was a military, I don't want to say military brat, but my mom was in the Air Force. So it was, we traveled I was born in Atlanta. And then from Atlanta, I don't remember that. We went to Texas. Don't remember that. My first memory is in Fairfield, California, which is right in the middle of San Francisco and Sacramento. So that's where I spent about 9 years of my life. And then from there, we came to Louisiana, which where I'm at now. Went to San Diego, from San Diego, Texas to here now.
So something that surprises me, being a military kid, how did you have no education? You would think being on a base.
So that was
school. That is, how did that work?
So that's the thing right there. So as we left, I want to say it was California. My mom was no longer in the military, but we were still traveling. We came to Louisiana still traveling because my brother was in the Air Force. So we came here, and once we left there, it was just my mom taking care of me and my brother, and it was us trying to get to school, which was so far away. And then after that, my mom was like, let me homeschool you guys. But she was still working 2 jobs. She was still working 2 jobs. There was no car there. There was no nothing. I'm talking about to the point where we're carrying the groceries. You know what I mean? So, and then from time to time, being homeless and not having no food, all of that stuff played factors into let me be here and just live. Because we get to we're at points in our life where it's, what mode are you in? Exactly. Like you may not be in a mode or a level to start a business because you're in survivor mode. Like you just making money is enough for you to get by. You just getting money after that kind of does stuff to your life after you leave the survivor mode. Yeah. That's when you can start doing stuff. And people, we have these dreams, we have these goals, we have all these different things, but they don't even know what level they're at.
You know, how old are you?
33.
33. Oh, you are. That's what I asked you before. You were just a pup. Wait till you get to be my age and you add 30 more years onto what you're saying right now. Oh my gosh. You know, I understand that because I was 30. My daughter was 8 months old. My husband took off. I had no money, no job, no car. I had $75 in my purse. And I was in survival mode. I just needed to close the deal. I mean, I decided to try, a deal. But I was in such a survival mode at that point. I was in no position to be trying to help other people or anything. I just needed to close the deal. I needed some money so bad. I was just like, whatever I got to do to get this deal closed. And as long as it's legal, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make some money. And then, and it took me a long time. It took me a long time to look back at some of the things that happened that held me back. And just a lot like what you're saying, I didn't get married again until my daughter was 13. It took me 13 years to not be a man hater and to to be able to trust and just
Mm-hmm.
all those things, So I can see where you went through a lot to get to where you're at right now.
Absolutely. And a lot of people think just because someone has money behind them, like I train and mentor millionaires. Like my friend of mine makes easy in one of his businesses. He's a client too. I say friend because all my clients, they become friends. We just talk on the phone, but he makes easy in one of his businesses $250,000 a year, and other businesses. But he has problems just like we all have problems. Like money doesn't make your problems go away. If you don't know what you're doing with your money, it just enhances your problems, because you may have the ability to make money, but you take that money to go amplify an addiction that's holding you back. And that's why understanding these different things before you get into stuff is super important. So just understanding that if you don't get rid of traumas, you don't take that time to look at what's going on in your life, you just said it. You're going to carry that with you for 13 years. So the person that you should have been 13 years ago, it took you 13 years to get there. On the outside, you're still making money. You're still taking care of your baby. You're building your business. You're doing all of these different things, which are wonderful. But there's still a section of your life that's not fully fulfilled because I said it earlier, there's a past experience. There's a traumatizing experience that you're holding on to.
You're so right. I did not even realize. I was like, I'm busy. I'm raising my daughter. I don't have time to date. I did not realize I was basically a man hater for a while, like really, like seriously. You can't trust men, they'll dog, they'll lie, betrayal, And I'm sure I met a lot of really nice people, and nobody even remotely stood a chance of getting anywhere past the man hater mask. I was like, hey, but I'm doing deals, I'm speaking, but Dwan, her life's so great. She's so wonderful. Look at her. She has the best life. And inside, I'm just like, don't even look at me,
I'm going to cut you. You get close to me, I'm going to cut you.
It's like, come over here, I'm going to chop you up. And so it's funny, though, because it took me a decade to even recognize.
Exactly.
I was really pissed. Like a whole decade. And then finally I was like, really, like I need to what's going on with me? And I was in church. I started, kind of discovering my things like that. But I know people still today, like in my age group, 60s, 60s, and that are still mad about things that happened. And, that they just never found a way to deal with it. Like, how do you deal with being assaulted, and how do you deal with the overweight? I'm sure the teasing, and like, how does a person take a step and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to deal with this. I'm 30 years old. It's time to deal with this. What is the first step a person would take to start to heal a trauma?
So there's several different things, and it depends where you are on your path. And this is why before me and you got on this conversation, and even in my podcast, I talked about Dr. Drew. I have a strong love for Dr. Drew because when I was doing security, remember, I could not read, I could not write. That was the only job I could get at night while losing weight, while learning that process. I listened to him. I was listening to him because he's a sex therapist. Yeah. And there was somebody on there and they were like, you know what? I was sexually abused as a child. And me, I'm like, that was me. And he just said, okay, well, this is how you deal with that. And she was like, I see this person every single Thanksgiving. I can't get away from this person. I'm like, that's the same thing with me too. And I was like, how do I deal with that? And this is where it bugged me for so long because I ran away from what I'm doing right now. Literally ran away because I didn't want to do this. I wanted to be the speaker. I wanted to build businesses and not be out in the open and stuff. But people need to hear this, right?
People really need, especially men, because I'm not to interrupt you. I want you to finish your story. Yes. But women are more abused, more attacked, and it doesn't happen in men as much. I mean, still it's like 1 in 10, I think, men, and like 1 in 5 women or something, 1 in 5. But men never want to say, hey, this thing happened to me, because I don't know why, really. I think probably they think like, oh, I should have been able to protect myself. I'm a man. That shouldn't have happened to me. But I have a few very young boys in my personal family that have had a situation, and it's really traumatizing. I mean, it's traumatizing for everyone, I'm sure, but especially for men. Men don't want to talk about it, and they need to.
Absolutely. And that's where I come in, because I didn't want to be the person who's like, I just want to focus on men. I focus on everybody, because this is just the beginning. The beginning is understanding the transformation, and then I can help you understand your purpose and get you to the next level. Understand all of the different things in success. That's my whole thing, is to study. I study success. So it's dealing with all of these different things, understanding exactly who you truly are, and then getting to that ultimate success. Because we all have it in us, but we all have these roadblocks. So to go back to your answer, or your question, it took me forever. It took me forever to take the advice that Dr. Drew said on that one radio show. And I always remember it. He was like, just as easy as this. There's other things you have to do, but just as easy as calling the person and taking the weight off of you and putting it back on the person. Because what happens is we put a label on us. Yeah. That label is what controls us. Because this happened to me, I'm going to carry this label on my head, and this is exactly who I am. But you got to take that weight, because it doesn't even belong to you. No. You take that weight and you give it back to its rightful owner. So it's just as easy as making a phone call, which is extremely hard, but the steps are easy.
I can't even imagine making that phone call. Wow.
Exactly. Or wow. Writing a letter of, this is what you did to me. This is the outcome that it has happened in my life. All of these different things, because we hold these things inside. So I had over 330 pounds of weight on me, but the mental weight was so much heavier. And that's what it's truly about, is getting rid of that mental weight. I always tell people, I'm like, after this, you're about to be a couple 1,000 pounds lighter. Like after we talk, after we get this stuff, the weight on your body is going to come off, or the weight in your head is going to come off, but you got to deal with this stuff first. So to go back to your original question, how do we get rid of it? We get rid of it by giving it back. Like you can't see it, but you know it's there. Like love, like connection, all of these different things, labels, all of these different things, we hold on to it tight, and it becomes our identity. Once we get rid of that identity, pull it from the root, then we can place another identity in there. That's where it's like, I know, going back, because we're talking about real estate, going back to real estate, I know I can be a real estate investor, but all of this stuff happened to me that's saying that I can't be a real estate investor.
Yes.
So you pull it from the root, understand it, and then push it back.
So when you face your abuser and you pulled that, we're just going to talk about that specific root from it. When you pulled that, okay, I was sexually abused, I'm pulling that root. What did you put in place of that single root?
This right here. Because I did the weight loss, but I was trying to figure out, I became a personal trainer, 7 certifications in the fitness industry, physically training people, not I'm online and I'm a personal trainer. No, physically training hundreds of people in classes, one-on-one, and then online and all of that kind of good stuff. But I was conflicted, because I was like, I lost the weight, but I'm still eating this stuff. Yeah. Why am I still eating these things that I know aren't good for me? I taught myself how to read. I taught myself how to write. I have dyslexia, so I still use my phone. But it's like, I'm still doing these things that I should have been done with. Why am I still doing these things? I have the education. I'm a personal trainer. I'm training people. But why am I still grabbing a tub of ice cream on the weekend? Because I'm trying to fill a void that has never been plucked from the root, because my cup is still full with all that bad experiences that I had. So what I did was, I had to come to terms when I said I was running away from doing this right here. I had to come to terms with, this is who I am, and I'm gonna put my life work into doing this fully. And this was 3 years ago. That gave me that finally gave me the courage. I'm still doing business, still doing all these different things, but every single day I see somebody on stage like, why did you tell them to do that like that? That's dumb. Like that's not gonna help them get anywhere. Like this is stupid. Did you really just say that to him? Oh my God, that was dumb. And if you just would have held that a little bit longer, then it would have had more impact. And I got tired of hearing that. I got tired of hearing that. And I say that Holy Spirit gets a whole different level, but I got tired of hearing in my ear, that's what you need to be doing. So in order to do that, I can't be the person that says you need to lose weight, which is not in that term, but you know what I mean. You need to drop some weight. You need to build that business that's inside of you. You need to chase that dream that's inside of you. You need to go through the addictions or whatever it is to get to that next level if I don't do it myself. And that's where true transformational speaking, true transformational coaching comes in, because it is a mental, physical, and spiritual transformation. We all go through it. Either you're super, super smart and you're making all this money, but your spiritual life is empty. You're super, super, super spiritual, but you're broke. See what I mean? So they all have to they all have to coincide with each other and marry each other.
Coexist. I get you.
Yeah, they have to coexist. So that's what it is. It truly is figuring out what it is and how to pluck that from the root and putting forward moving action in that you actually desire, not what someone else's desire, because you're going to fall back into the same habits, same routines of doing the same thing over and over again, helping that past trauma stay alive.
Yeah. So you plucked that root and basically replaced it with facing it, acknowledging it, and then putting your energy into helping other people pluck their root.
Yes and no.
Not to oversimplify it.
Yeah.
It was that kind of specifically like, okay, I'm going to take all this anger and this crap I've been carrying around forever, and I'm going to help other people.
Absolutely. And the thing is that I was always doing it, but I was always sugarcoating it. I'm saying, I'm always kind of like, I'm kind of into doing this. I'm going to help this person on the side over here. I'm going to continue again doing multiple business and stuff, but I'm going to just play around with this.
Yeah.
But once that was done, it's like, okay, this is go time. This is go. Every moment, this is who I am. It's not a purpose for me. It's a calling, and I'm going to make sure that happens. And that's what it truly is for people. And the ones that are listening to this, if you're listening to this, you want to be a real estate investor. That is something that you truly want inside of you. Understand the processes that get there are in front of you, but you got to break through these things. Once you break through these things, it's game time. You have nothing in front of you except an open field.
Yeah. Boy, that is, I tell you what, you really, you need your own TV show.
That's the second time in the last 2 weeks I've heard that.
You didn't like Dr. Drew. So everyone out there, if anybody knows Dr. Drew, you find that man and you hook him up with Rob. You and Dr. Drew do the show.
Please, I need to. I'm gonna.
I mean, you just hit the nail on the head so much, and and not even just real estate investing, just anyone that wants to make money, or, I was a single mom, and, and my family was like, you need a job. You can't go be, you need to be responsible. It's irresponsible to try to work for yourself. Get a job. So your family and your friends sometimes mean well, I'm sure, but they also hold you down, and people want to keep you and, go work at a factory in this box over here, because trying to start a business is ridiculous. You have a child, you can't do that. So, people just get so stuck. And I feel like for me anyway, for the people that I try to work with and teach and train, I do say, hey, listen, you want to be a millionaire? I can help you do that. But these are like 5 things over here you need to work through. And one is like naysayers. People are afraid of success equally as much as they're afraid of failure.
Yes.
Fear of success, I think, might even be bigger than fear of failure.
It really is. It really is. And that's another roadblock right there. And people don't even realize that is a roadblock. Like I can't be, there is no way I can be that over there. I can build my own business. I can be self-employed. I can do these different things. That is a roadblock. That is a limiting
belief. People
belief.
use excuses, because I remember thinking back 30 years ago, I'm a single white woman. I'm living in Florida. I'm working in rehabbing, which is 100% a man's business, especially back then. It's not as bad today, but I couldn't get anyone to take me serious. Everybody was like, oh, she's so cute. Look at her trying to do deals. How cute. Like I had so many things to get past. But I thought, well, I'm not going to claim that as my, I'm a single mom. I can't do it. I have to get a job. I'm not claiming that. I'm not going to, like with you, like you can't say, oh, I'm a Black man and something happened to me. And I can't change because of that.
Exactly.
Society puts us in boxes, and I think sometimes people feel safe in their box with all their crazy, because you're told that it's okay to be angry all your life because something bad happened to you. But it's not. It's really not okay, because all it does is it hurts you. It holds you down. It hurts you and all the people around you.
And that's the things that we have to constantly break through. And I said at the beginning that I fail every day. We think about these things every day. It's I'm gonna get on this camera right now, and what is the other person thinking? Roadblock. All of these different things is what goes through our head all the time. And those are the things that we have to shatter. Those are the things that we have to shatter. And those are the things that we as the person have to deal with. When you get to the point in your life and you say, you know what, I'm going to be this person no matter what. That's when transformation starts to happen, because you start to look at those things like, I know this right here is going to scare me, but I'm going to do it anyways. I know this is going to happen, but I'm still going to do it anyways. You know how many times before I hopped on an interview with people, my heart is thumping. I'm like, oh man, am I going to say something dumb? Am I going to read off the list right? Or is this thing? Oh, that's a roadblock. That's a roadblock. But the thing is, though, you figure out how to go past that. So it is crazy. But once I just recorded this podcast yesterday too. Once you understand the rules to the game, because life is a game. Once you understand those rules, all those same rules apply to everything. That's why you see somebody build a business, and then they take that same knowledge, that same concept, go write a book. That same knowledge, that same concept, go have a successful family, because they took the time to understand the rules to the game. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
It does. And it's funny because I've been speaking on stages for, I don't even know, 20 years now. And there's not very much that makes me nervous. Just, I don't know if there's 5,000 people, 10,000, 2 people, I'm just like, I just start talking. I don't really think about it. But I can remember thinking way back, like so nervous, and what if they don't like me? And what if someone, I remember one time I spoke at this event, and there was a woman, it was in Ohio. She was sitting in the very front row, and she had on like overalls, and she was knitting. She had like the knitting knives, and she never looked up one time. I had a room full of people, and this woman is sitting here knitting and doing her thing. And I got so focused on, oh my God, why is she knitting? Why isn't she listening to me? Does she hate me? What's happened? Did the whole audience hate me? And like that one person wrecked my entire night, because I was so focused on still wondering if people like me or not. And why is she knitting? She should be listening. And then when I was all said and done, she was the first person in the back. She goes, I love your presentation. She bought everything I had. And she became one of my successful students. She says, the only way I can learn is if I knit. It opens my mind for listening. And here I am. She hates me. She hates me. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Do other people see her knitting? Like, this is going to be a terrible evening tonight, because my mind went someplace else. It never even dawned on me that that's how she focuses. I immediately went for the negative. Why is this person knitting in the front row? And she was like, you're so great. I love you. Your energy, blah, blah, blah. And I loved every minute. I'm like, you never looked up. Oh, no, this is how I focus. And it is funny, because your mind takes you to the negative immediately.
Yes, all the time.
No place in my mind did I think, this woman loves me. She's knitting because it helps her. She's in the zone. That never went in my head. By the time I was done, I was like frazzled over it. And it was nothing. But it's like the same thing. You're getting on a show. What if I say? What if I say something dumb? What if this? What if that? I don't know that we ever completely stopped doing that.
No, we don't. And for me, I just say, I don't care. Now I just say, like, I don't care. Because I get to the point where it's like, if I don't fix this for me, if I don't fix this reading thing, then I'm not going to move to the next step. If I don't do this, then I'm not going to do it. Now it's like, I don't care. I mess up. Oh, I love it. Okay, I failed. Yeah, whatever. Then I just go to the next thing. And that's truly developing that muscle inside of your head. There's so many different muscles we talk about. We talk about action muscle, but it's developing. I don't care. I'm gonna go, and I love this because sales is the name of the game of business, right? There is not a business on this planet that you don't do sales in. If you can understand the psychology around sales, understand that you need to be a people person, and understand that there's no possible way for you to go to one person and make money, it's not going to happen. But when you say, you know what, there's 100 doors, and I'm going to knock on 100 doors, you may get 98 no's, but that's building something inside of you. If you're like, oh, I'm so sensitive and I can't do it, then that's something you got to go home and work out. Like I used to hate it. So I had a sales office and I had 30 reps. I used to always train them. It's serious stuff. So I'm always laughing and stuff because I'm a happy person, even though we're talking about serious conversations.
Yeah.
But I used to always mess around with my reps and stuff when I was training them in sales. I'm like, when you go out into the field, don't get sensitive. Get sensitive that first time. I get sensitive. I make sure I go knock on 10 doors before I go do anything, before I go knock on those 100 real doors, because I need to feel that pain of no. Somebody slam the door. F you. Get away from me. All these different things. Like all these different things you got to deal with. But once you get rid of that, it's kind of like, you turn to Superman. It's like the nose just kind of bounce off of you. Like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm gonna get to the next thing. really quick, you become Superman, and that's when you start to truly build something inside. And I say that little story is to say, is you get to the point where you say, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't care if I mess up. I don't care if this comes out right. But I do care if one person listens and take action. That's what I care about. That's where I get my highs from. When somebody comes back to me and say, Robert, after our training session, after our transformational session, after your speech, after I read your book, like I'm transformed. Who I was 6 months ago, I'm not that person anymore. I never get tired of hearing people say that because I was in their position one day, and you said it earlier, males don't like to admit it, but there's 1 out of 5 that has been molested, sexually assaulted, or something going through in their life, and they're holding on to that. And they're using some type of mechanism like an addiction to help facilitate that, and all they're doing is dying inside. They're spiritually, mentally, and physically killing themselves to cover that stuff up. And
I didn't realize the number was that high. It's our society is just people are just so rotten sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like if I had one power, I would get rid of every thought, every child traffic, every porn, anything. I would look at us putting on our chapstick.
I copied off of you. My list is getting dry too.
No, well, Elsa, weirdly, I watched Dr. Oz one day, and he was talking about like 10 things that people are addicted to, and they don't know it's an addiction. Chapstick is an addiction.
Really?
And I was sitting there, and I was like, what do you mean chapstick's an addiction?
Is it an addiction?
And I said, people that use chapstick, like the feeling of putting it on is comforting. And then I was like, oh, let me see. I'm like, yeah, they're right. Yeah, okay. I'm keeping this addiction.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy. It's crazy that you bring up addiction. I want to touch on it. You said
Isn't that funny though?
Yeah, one of the main things that took me, I didn't want it to be one of my first products, but one of the products that I'm working on, I have other products, but it's desperately needed. But porn addiction, you just hit it on the head right there. Yeah. Porn addiction is a real thing. It is a very sabotaging thing. That's what destroys marriages. That's what destroys relationships. That's what destroys businesses. Yes, all these different things. because someone is addicted to porn, but there's a reason behind that. There's a reason why someone is watching that porn. You're not just watching that porn so you can get pleasure from it. No, you're filling a void that needs to be plucked from the root.
Yeah, I belong to a couple different groups where I'm all about all the anti-trafficking, with the kids, the kidnapping, the porn, the sex, like all the kind of stuff. I'm like, honestly, if you could just wipe that one section of humanity off of the planet of the earth completely, I feel like everything would just be so different.
Yeah.
So different. And I've had so many people I've known personally that have gotten divorced because of porn. And it's so crazy addictive. And I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I heard it's like more addictive than heroin and more addictive than drugs. And
it is
like, oh my gosh. Like
it is.
It's oh gosh, that's a whole nother show. I go off on a tangent for 10 days talking about all the crazy stuff that just comes from that specific addiction. It's just so detrimental to your soul.
Absolutely.
It's so detrimental to your soul. I think any addiction is, but especially something like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I feel very blessed that I have never felt like addicted specifically to anything. I did have a whole decade where I snorted a whole lot of cocaine, like pretty much on the daily. Well, maybe I was addicted, but I just sort of woke up one day and I was like, okay, well, I need to stop wasting my time. This is stupid. I need to grow up. And that was it. But I totally get that a lot of people do have addictive. My husband has a very addictive personality, which is why he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs, doesn't watch porn. He's like, if I do any of those things, I'm all in or all out. I cannot. Yep. He doesn't eat red meat because he can't eat a hamburger and wait a week for another one or have a steak. It's like, it's all in on everything. Yep. So the good thing is, he likes to buy coins. He likes to buy buildings. He likes to rehab and do productive things that make us a lot of money. But the man has a crazy addictive personality. And I'm just like, thank God he never crossed any of those kind of lines like that, because I don't know how he would come back.
Mm-hmm. He found himself. He went through the process and understood who he was and understood what he can and cannot do. And then, as we said it earlier, he channeled that stuff, those addictions, in the right direction, and he's creating the life that he wants.
He recycles his addictiveness. Like like all of a sudden one day I'll see him doing puzzles. Uh-huh. And then for like 6 months, all day and night, just every free minute he's doing puzzles. I'm like, what are you doing? He's puzzles. I'm like, okay, well, let's see, 6 months, let's see what comes up. Next thing you know, coins are coming in the mail every day. He's buying coins. Next thing you know, baseball cards coming in the mail all the time. Next thing you know, hey, I started a rehab over here. And he just kind of cycles through. And I was like, okay, as long as there's no women, no drugs, and no porn, you can just keep rolling that around or whatever you want to do. When you put those 3 things in, we got a problem. A big problem. But the nice thing, I guess, is that he's actually aware. And I think a lot of people don't realize, or they're not aware, or they just don't know that, they just don't know. They don't know. So, so let me just ask you something completely random. Tell me what's your favorite food?
Wow. See, that switches from time to time. Right now, because I've been in it for a while, it's Thai food. Ooh. I love me some Thai food. I love some curry. Oh my goodness gracious. Just the flavors in it. Like I went from Mexican, I went from Asian, I went through my black phase. I'm being very stereotypical right now with the chicken. I went through all these different phases. Right now I'm in the phase of Thai. Like I love curries. Like if I go to a restaurant, I gotta get a curry because it is just so, like, it's so flavorful. Like
it's so good.
Oh my goodness, I love me some Thai food. So we can have a whole podcast talking about food. Like
I cycle through food too. I get into moments where I, like, for months I'll kind of eat the same thing. And my body's just like, Thai food, whatever. I kind of do the same sort of thing. I'm not like, I don't eat all the different things all the time. I kind of get hooked on something. So weirdly right now I'm hooked on bison meat. Bison. Now let me tell you, I've never had it. I mean, I've had it at a couple of restaurants. A friend of mine said, hey, I'm going to make you some bison tacos. I was like, ew, that doesn't even sound good. And she made these bison tacos. I took one bite and I have had bison like 18 times in the last month. It's amazing. You should right? And I
Yeah,
went to some, they sell,
never
I'm like,
had
do they
it.
sell that in the grocery stores? Oh, where the hamburger meat and stuff is, they sell it just like a pack of hamburger meat.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
Just buy a
I've had.
taco pack and buy bison. And I'm telling you, I took one bite and I'm having some today. I'm so addicted right now. I don't even know what's wrong with me. I can't stop eating bison.
Uh-oh. You need some coaching. You need some coaching. I got you. I'll take care of you.
What's your favorite band of all time?
Blue October.
Ooh. Okay, I do not know who Blue October is.
You got to get into that Blue October.
So I'm going to have to listen to some on YouTube.
Yes.
You're the very first person that gave me a band I didn't know.
Blue October. Love me some Blue October. Blue October got me, Justin is the lead singer. He got me through a lot. Yeah, Blue October. Blue October,
okay.
Sure.
What kind of genre, what kind of music is that?
That's rock.
Okay, nice. Wow, you're the first person ever that's given me a band I've never heard of. I'm so excited to find out who Blue October is.
I'm a music junkie. I listen to everything. Like I'm bipolar when I'm out throughout my day. Like I'm talking about, if I'm going to the gym, it could be rock going to the gym. Once I get into the gym, it might turn into hip hop. And then as soon as I get done, I'm listening to Alicia Keys or Mariah Carey because I'm cooling down. So I listen to everything. We could have a whole podcast talking about music. So yeah, music is my thing.
I love music. I mean, I grew up, my parents are from Tennessee, so I grew up on bluegrass. And I used to be like, I hate that blue, but now at my age, I'm like, I like a little bluegrass, So it's funny how you loop back. I love all kinds of music too. So like two last things here, because I know you got another show you need to get onto. Where is a place, or do you have a place that you have been to, and when you're at that place, you're just like, everything is right with the world? Do you have like a favorite place, or you've traveled to, or been to, or have not yet discovered that you want to?
Oh man, you just hit me right now. I was about to say the gym. I say the gym just because it's something that's tangible that you can hold on to and feel your body moving to force that, to focus your time and energy there. If you do that, it goes into your life. But that's my safe haven right there, the gym. But there's a place in San Diego. I lived in San Diego for 13 years, 15 years, for a while now. I mean, back then for a while. Mm-hmm. But it's a place called Sunset Cliffs. I go to San Diego every single year because I have family and I have friends over there. May not go this year because of my baby, but that's my place. I go there. Sunset Cliffs. That is the most beautiful view that you will ever see, and a lot of people don't know about it. You go down to the beach. You go down. There's 7 beaches in San Diego, and you go down to Imperial. I believe I've been a while. I want to say it's Imperial Beach. Imperial Beach. And you just go in between some houses, and then you go up a little hill. And once you get up that hill, it's like the world just opens up to you. And you're like, oh my God. Every single time I go there, I try to take someone new. I'm going to take you over there because
I'm going to go with you.
We'll get some carne asada fries. I'll get you fat. I'll train you in the gym. Then I'll get you some carne asada fries. You got to get carne asada fries. And the rule is you cannot share it. The plate is so huge, but you can't share the carne asada fries. And then we'll go walk it off. And
we'll walk it off. And we'll have Thai food.
Yes.
That is a date, my friend. I'm going to hold you to that. So awesome. I had told you my yard guy literally just showed up. Can you hear that?
Just a little bit.
Oh, my yard guy is like, oh no. They don't know I'm inside the house recording clearly. But you and I talked about this before, and I like the fact that you've mentioned this so many times. At the end of all my podcasts, I have something I have called the 5 equities of life. It was actually in my very first book that I wrote. I did a whole chapter on the 5 equities of life, and they are financial, spiritual, physical, mental, and family. And in my personal opinion, I feel like if you kind of took a pie and you sliced it all up, pretty much everything in our life falls under one of those equities. And you have mentioned several times today about financial and spiritual and different life equities. And so at the end of every podcast, I always have our guests give us a life equity and give us an assignment. Now, for my regular listeners, you all know what's fixing to happen. But for somebody new, I feel like life is, like you said earlier, if you might be crazy spiritual and like your family life is terrible, or you're crazy wealthy and like your spiritual life's in the toilet. And I feel like with just all the crazy in the world, I feel like people have a hard time staying in balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am a big believer in doing the very best that you can to try to keep balanced. So I feel like if you do a little effort on every equity all the time, you don't get so out of whack, which we have all been out of whack at some point in our lives. So I do like for my guests to give us the life equity. And then what we ask is for an assignment. And I ask everyone that listens to do that assignment for a week. If they like it, I want them to keep it as a part of their life. And if they don't like it, I still want them to do it for a week, just to be doing something different. And I never let my guests, and this is real for people listening, I really never let the guests tell me the life equity in advance, because I want to, be surprised too. So what do you have for us as the category of the life equity, and what is our assignment this week, Mr. Rob?
So I'm kind of torn what category this fits under, because it's an exercise. It can fit under spiritual. It can fit almost under all of these, because I'm going to give you the assignment, and you're going to see why. This is what I do when I go to conferences. When we had conferences open for speeches and stuff, because it does something for people. Okay. It's funny. It's kind of hilarious, but it shows a human connection. So you can even say family. So right now, let's just put it under family. We'll put it under family, because it's something that you have to go do with somebody. Okay. And you need 3 people to do it, because you need someone who is holding the timer. So what happens is we go through life, and we really never truly understand what love is, or what we are, or how long 30 seconds really is. So what I do is I have someone, this is always a third person, who is holding the timer. Okay. And I say, you have to give, not the person holding the timer, but the 2 other people, you have to give that person a hug for 30 seconds. And this hug is uninterrupted for 30 seconds. So I'm a big dude. I always grab a guy to do this. I'm a big dude. I'm 6'4" right now. I'm like at 200 I'm dropping weight, but I'm like at 250 right now. So what I do is I have someone hold the timer, and then I say, come here. And I grab the person and I put their head on my chest. Because people don't truly give hugs. When I hug someone, they're like, oh my God, that was the best hug I've ever had. I was like, you feel loved right now, don't you? You truly feel loved right now, don't you? But what I do for that 30 seconds is I just hold the person. I don't care how old they are. I don't care what sex they are, what gender they are. And I say for this 30 seconds, this is going to be an uninterrupted hug. And what happens is people truly don't know how long a 30 seconds is. So when I say go, the person presses the timer, and 10 seconds in, the person's like, yeah. I say, hey, shh. Like, I really shush the person. I'm like, it's uninterrupted. It's uninterrupted. 5 seconds there, 7 seconds later, they're like, wait. I'm like, shh. They're like, this is the longest 30 seconds. I'm like, I know. And then soon as that 30 seconds is over, I release them. And in that moment, they're like, wow, I feel really good. Because what's happening is, in their mind, they're like, oh my gosh, this person is holding me, or why am I being held? Why is this happening? And then for a certain amount of time, they quiet all of that stuff down. And then they get that love signal.
Giving your heart.
Do that for a week. Do that for a week.
That.
Do that for a week. Grab somebody that's close to you. Grab somebody that you don't know and do that, and have a third person to keep track of that time. And that third person is the person that's like, shh. Both of you guys are like, shh, it's uninterrupted. Be quiet. This is love time.
I love that. Now, I don't know if you told us how to get a hold of you in the beginning. We started that. Did you give us your website?
I didn't. So Your Purposeful Purpose podcast is my podcast. Your I'm sorry, in just purposefulpurpose.com is my website. And also, I'm on live every single day now on my Facebook page. If you go to Rob Wells, Facebook/Rob Wells, you'll be able to see me on there. We'll interact. I'm a very human person. There's the people that are not human. You send me a message via Facebook, I'm going to get back to you. I don't care if it's my profile. I don't care if it's the Facebook page, any of those. Purposefulpurpose.com, your Purposeful Purpose podcast, Facebook/Rob Wells, or Instagram, Rob_Wells_.
Nice. Yeah, I follow you on Facebook now. So I'm just going to tell Hannah in the show notes, make sure you put Rob's purposefulpurpose.com up in the top of the show notes as well. All right, so I took a lot of notes. So let me see if we were able to get inside the mind of Rob Wells today. So you are a superhero. You are 33. You are a transformational speaker. Your deal is you work with people on inspiration and motivation, but you take them through to the actual transformation so they can become new people. You had a pretty rough start with the 5th grade education, the dyslexia, the abuse, the weight, the homelessness, a lot of things like that. But you plucked all that out and got rid of all that. And you put in some new, really amazing things that you now take that time and energy and you help transform the lives of other people. You love Thai food. You love Blue October. You love the Sunset Cliffs in San Diego. And you help people get rid of their fear and their doubt and become who they were meant to be.
Absolutely.
Is that a summary of Rob Wells?
You hit it on. I need to write that down so I can use that for copy on my website. That's beautifully said. Thank you so much. Yes.
Well, I listen. I take a lot of notes, and I ask questions that I feel like people would want to know. Like if I met you out, those are things I would want to know about you. And thank you for being so honest and for sharing your heart and stuff. I appreciate that more than you know. That you have a lot of adversity that you overcame, and the fact that you're out there helping other people also overcome their adversities. This makes you a superhero to me. So I appreciate you doing that, because there are not enough people like you in the world that are willing to really go raw and share their story. But there's a lot of people that need to hear it.
Absolutely.
And if anybody knows Dr. Drew, I need a connection right here with my man, Rob, and Dr. Drew. Y'all need to be on a TV show together.
Yes.
I'm putting it out in the world. I'm like, Lord, bring that over. And I get to be a guest.
Yes. I have so much love for you. You're an awesome person. I'm so glad that we met. I really want to say that. I'm not saying that because of the podcast. You are an amazing person, and
I feel the same way about you too. I'm really happy that we met and our paths have connected, and I'm sure we're going to do a lot of great things in the future together. And now, folks, Rob and I both have podcasts, and we can't grow our podcast without you. So I'm asking you to go to Purposeful Podcast and listen. Go to Dwanderful, the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. Also go to my site, dwanderful.com. Give us both 5-star reviews. Write something amazing about how great we were, because we can't be number one without you.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited for this to come out. I can't wait for everyone to hear this amazing interview. It's really been wonderful, and it's been really an honor to share this interview with you today. And folks, remember, the truth is in the red letters. So we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. All right.
Boom.
Ciao, everyone. Goodbye, Rob.
Bye.
Rock star.